Hi, I'm Sean. I write music as Toast. I'm going to be doing a track walkthrough of my song LoFi Phonk. We'll listen to half of it. We'll talk about it. And here we go. So Phonk, if you have any experience listening to it, it's very simple. It can be tricky to find ways to simply change it up to keep it fresh, but also to keep it repetitious enough to where it's, still kind of a vibe. Oh, I guess I should talk contrast a little bit, right? When I think contrast, I think of the dynamics in a song. So I think of the difference between the quiet and the loud parts. So when you're going from an intro into a drop, you want a lot of contrast because you want impact. And that comes from essentially filtering the main groove of the song, which happens to be the bass line. It's shorter, it's a little tighter with what frequencies it's representing, and then you come in with this. Grimier, it's bigger, it's got more distortion, and it's got more sustain. So something I remember hearing Dave Grohl talk about, he was referring to drums and the difference between a verse and a chorus. The verse, the drums are a lot tighter, more staccato, and then you get more legato, more sustain out of the drums in the chorus. It makes it more of a wash and more of a wall of sound. And so you can kind of take that principle and apply it to your synths when you're going from an intro into a drop. Okay, so now it's introducing kind of the core ideas. You got the kick, the bass, and then about halfway through this, you start to get a little sense of the lead, right? Now, to get that funk lead, I think I just saw a video. I just copied this preset because it was really easy and it sounded exactly what I needed. Just two saw waves. One's just playing just the root, the other's playing a fifth up, and then you are detuning the sustain essentially of that note. And you get your funk lead, right? Very clicky, very attack intensive. Now you have the full drums matched with the spatial effects. I'll refer to another person that I once heard deadmau5 say to change the song every 16 bars by adding or taking away two elements. So in this section, if you think about it, we're taking away the atmosphere, we're adding drums, and the bass line's changing quite dramatically. With contrast, again, right? It's fuller, it's louder. And then you go 16 bars. Well, actually, you go 8 bars. It changes, lead changes, you get atmosphere, drums change again. You now have the clap, and now you have the hats, right? And these drums are really simple. These are just hip hop drums I found from a pack, but they match that lo-fi feel I wanted, right? Kick's just got a little EQ on it. Yeah. And then the clap, all I really wanted was that tippy top end, since the kick didn't really have much of it. Yeah. Hats, again, super simple. One of the things I like to do on my hats, group them all together, just throw a chorus on it. It's just an easy way to spread them out. Okay, then we'll get a little into mixing. You notice nothing is organized very well, like nothing's labeled. My 1-year-old hit some hotkey and now I can't change the name of anything. So if anybody knows how to fix that, please let me know. Okay, mixing. I try to focus on the key elements first, that being probably the kick and the bass. Group those together. Got a bunch of EQs. EQ. Scooping out those low mids. Compressor. Just trying to get a little more sustain out of it, nothing too crazy. What am I doing here? I'm taking out the way low sub. I think that might have been in the way of the kick. Little EQ. More EQ. Getting rid of the mid-range, more top-end fuzz. And a limiter just to make sure it's going to sit where I want it to in the mix. I typically group the kick and clap together to just get them feeling meshed, like they're part of the same kit. I don't usually do that with the percussion and the hats. Usually I have percussion and then the hat group because I like to process them different. I don't necessarily want them to feel like they were recorded on the same drum set. Okay, so when you go from mixing these individual groups or these individual instruments and then grouping them, the idea is to kind of glue that together, that section, those instruments. And so usually most of my group processing is just going to be compressing, just a few different compressors doing a little each. So this one here. Yeah, again, just not doing too much, just making room for the other stuff. Taking out the mids, that's probably where that bass is sitting. Yeah. So I scooped this out because, yeah, I think it was just conflicting with this. Sounds good. Cool. My master chain's pretty simple too. A lot of mastering engineers are going to cringe at this, but I use pretty much the same mastering chain on every single song. The side cut's a little higher than normally. So I go EQ. Usually I do one EQ, but I'm doing two here. And then I do two different. So I start with this EQ. No, flip-flop it. Typically, now in this song it's different, but typically I go this EQ, followed by this. They're slightly different. This one, I'm trying to get this working more with the groove of the song and the timing of the push and pull of the kick and bass, right? So this is usually going to be a little bit more aggressive. It's going to be, I'm trying to grab just after the transient. And this one's more of just like a smoothing out the entire track and just gluing everything that much more together. And usually I'm only doing like 1 dB of compression on both of these. And you can look at the needle, especially on this one on the left, and go, okay, that one definitely has more groove to it. This one's more of just keeping the whole song just a little slightly squashed. Okay, compression. Then I go linear, multiband. Again, just trying to get a little bit more groove. and grabbing any weird peaks that might be popping out in any specific part of the spectrum. Yeah, I'm grabbing more of those mids more than anything else, just trying to get it sounding a little tighter and really making that low end feel very, very big. Almost to the point where it's muddy. It probably is a little muddy, but I think it sounds good. The Oxford Inflator is a killer plugin. I don't know what it does, but it just sounds good. It's got a little aggression to it. And then there's this tape compression plugin that I like by Waves. It just seems to round with EDM and in my mixes specifically. I always notice that the low end and the high end, usually you almost end up with a smiley face curve, like they just are a little too boosted. This is a tape plugin, so it just kind of squashes the highs and lows a little bit and just kind of boxes your mix back in a little bit. And just cleans it up just a touch. It's doing a lot of work. Okay. Limiter. Fat filter. Not doing much here. I'm really just squashing the song. And I usually shoot for negative 5.7 short-term LUs. So this is a little quiet, but that's because I got rid of a bunch of analog gear that I no longer have. So a little quiet. All right. And then I printed that to audio, and I felt it was way too long for how repetitious it was. So I don't do this with every song, obviously, but sometimes it permits. And so I cut out, like almost half of it just to shorten it up. I also like shorter songs. It just works for me. I ended up with about a 2-minute track, which you can stream everywhere. And I will have links in my profile for that. So thanks for watching. I'm Sean. I'll talk to you soon.